We're going to call the special meeting for Akron City Council to order. I'm going to ask that the clerk read the roll.
I can't.
I don't know, for some reason we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Just experienced some technical issues with the clerk. A couple minutes.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Sorry about that. Baylor? Connor?
Aye.
Freeman?
Present.
Fusco?
Aye.
Kamer? Lombardo?
Aye.
McKittrick?
Aye.
Malik?
Aye.
Neal?
Aye.
Amobian?
Aye.
Samples?
Aye.
Somerville?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
Baylor?
Aye.
All members are present except Kamer.
Thank you so much. At this time, if we can have a motion to suspend all council rules that require us to meet in person and to conduct in-person voting. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend all council rules that require or contemplate in-person meetings and in-person voting.
Thank you so much. Can we get a second by Councilman Malik?
Second.
Roll call.
Baylor?
Aye.
Connor?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Fusco?
Aye.
Lombardo?
Aye.
McKittrick?
Aye.
Malik?
Aye.
Neal?
Aye.
Amobian?
Aye.
Samples?
Aye.
Somerville?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
Motion passes 12-0.
Could we please have a motion to approve the minutes from our previously held meeting? Councilman Fusco?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes of the previously held meeting.
Can you second that motion, Councilwoman Samples?
I second that motion.
Roll call?
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
The minutes pass 12-0.
We do have 2 public hearings that are scheduled for this evening. Going to ask if the clerk will read them in.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, July 13th, 2020, during the special meeting of council at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a 0-lot line townhouse and single-family residential development at the southwest corner of Mull Avenue and South Hawkins Avenue. Council of the City of Akron on Monday, July 13th, 2020.
Thank you so much. At this time, Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. The city of Akron is the owner of former approximately 17.2 acre Perkins Middle School site on the south side of Mull Avenue, west of South Hawkins Avenue. Petitioner Neighborhood Development Corporation, whose parent company is Pi Alpha Homes, in partnership with the city of Akron, proposes an 82-unit residential development on the site to include a mix of 0-lot line townhouse units and single-family detached units on lots of varying sizes. The development involves a sale of city-owned land, the vacation of portions of right-of-way, and dedication of new public streets. The Residences at Good Park development repurposes 17.2 acres of land as a new neighborhood, complete with new public streets, several residential options, and community green space. A variety of housing options would be developed in phases, including townhouse units, traditional moderately single-family detached homes, and larger custom homes, and available for sale at various price points. The townhouse feature will feature 34 units built in 6 three-story buildings around the northern and western perimeter of the site, adjacent to Mull Avenue and Kildare Road. These units would be in the range of 1,200 square feet and would sell for approximately $195,000. The second phase, called Parkside Residences, will feature 23 single-family homes in the center of the development, most of which will overlook a new urban park space. Square footage of houses would be between 1,700 square feet to 1,900 square feet in this phase, and would sell for approximately $225,000 to $275,000. The third custom homes phase will include 25 buildable lots adjacent to and nearby Good Park Golf Course. Neighborhood Development Corporation, under Alpha Phi Alpha, will deliver to local home builders lots at market price that will support 1,900 square feet to 2,800 square foot custom homes here. The proposed development represents a significant opportunity to create new high-quality housing within this desirable neighborhood, and is in accordance with the city's planning to grow housing strategy to increase the population of Akron. The planning staff fully supports this proposed conditional use, sale of city-owned land, and the vacation of portions of right-of-way for the Residences at Good Park development. And both Planning Commission and planning staff recommend approval subject to conditions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Antonucci. I know that we have some individuals who are joining us this evening who would like to speak in favor of this ordinance. I'm just going to ask if there's any individuals who are wishing to speak on this piece that you'll be sworn in by a member of our law department.
If you wish to speak in favor or against, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tom Fuller, would you like to start off?
Yes, I would. We have a number of people here who are part of the development team who we would like to have speak. But I want to start it out first by talking a little bit about who the organization is, who we are, what we've done in the city of Akron. Alpha Phi Alpha Homes has been around since 1966. And we have built a total of about 1,200 units in the city of Akron. The most of the property that we've developed is just south of downtown in what was the Opportunity Park urban renewal area. Started with the Channelwood project, which is a rental property, Callis Tower, Williams Tower, and then 2 condo projects, the landings at Canal Park and the townhomes at Canal Park. We've also developed in Akron Wesley Tower, which is not far from the site of the proposed development, the residences at Good Park. We are currently, with the aid of the city of Akron, renovating Wesley Tower in the Wallhaven area. This piece of property, the Perkins Middle School property, total of about 17 acres of land, which is perfectly situated for a highly successful for sale new neighborhood in Akron. It's on a golf course, which is rather rare to have a piece of land that is so well positioned. It's close to the interstate. It is within walking distance of St. Sebastian's Elementary School and church property. It's across the circle from Forest Lodge, and it's about a half a mile south of the Wallhaven commercial retail area. So we're real excited about this project and the difference it's going to make in that area of West Akron. We have been working with the city, with the team that we've put together, and we think we have a very effective proposal that will make a difference, and make a difference quickly in this area of town. We have with us a number of people, and I'd like to turn it over to them. I just want to introduce them first. The first one who's going to speak is Alex Pesta, who's with City Architecture, and he'll talk about the development. Jason Dodson with Retzel and Andrus will talk about the finances of the project, and Bob Warner from EDG will answer questions about the infrastructure part of the project. I'm not sure if John Williams is on the line here at this point, but if he's not, I'll turn it over to Alex.
Okay, not hearing from John. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, members of council. Again, my name is Alex Pesta. I'm with City Architecture, and we've had the pleasure of working with Tom and his team, Abraham at the city, as well, to help develop a site plan for the residents at Good Park. If we go to the next slide. So the site is arranged, as Tom outlined, the variety of units. The townhomes, which are in the foreground here, face Mall Avenue. They have front doors and porches that would face Mall. And then as we move back into the neighborhood, you can see the variety of housing. So the ones around the center, the core, those Parkside residents, and then the larger homes towards the rear of this image that would front the golf course. And before we flip to the next slide, I would like to call to your attention and make a specific point to the amount of green space that's reflected here. We really feel that open and public space in combination with the built environment is critical to providing a complete walkable neighborhood. So if we could flip to the next slide, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. Part of the circulation and part of moving around is going to require, I'm sorry, I'm getting some. Can everybody hear me okay?
No.
Yes.
I'll speak up a little bit. So part of,
And I'm just going to ask before you continue with your presentation, council members, please, everyone put their device on mute because we're getting a lot of background noise. Thank you. Okay, Alex, thank you.
thank you so much. Part of the circulation is the Incorporation of New Streets. So you can see on the site plan that's on your screen, Mall Avenue is on the left, Hawkins is across the top of the page, and new streets are proposed throughout the development to provide new access. We do plan on reusing portions of Kildare Road, which is an existing public right-of-way, and then also vacant portions of Sunset New Drive, which actually extend in this image to the bottom right-hand of the site plan, which is unimproved public right-of-way. So the paper street is part of the development. You can see here, this is provided for delineation of the different types of housing. So the dark orange are the townhomes, and kind of medium orange is sorry, I'm seeing that I'm having some issues here.
Yeah, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Tom, why don't you take it from there? I'm going to call in with my cell and just see if that'll help.
Can we see the next slide? Maybe what I do is go back to the first one, and I'll try to repeat what Alex was attempting to say. The portion on the left and to the bottom of the screen is the townhouse portion. These are attached units. They're 3-story. They include parking on the first floor and 2 stories of living above. The next portion, which is kind of a beige color, is the Parkside Units. And these are units that are around the central park that's shown there in the middle of the site. The park is extended with additional green space up toward the circle at Mull and Hawkins. And of course, beyond the circle is the large city park, Forest Lodge. The land to the right, further right, is the yellow portion, and those are the units that will be sold as lots to home builders and other contractors and individuals who will follow the guidelines that we will have established with the help of city architecture and the city staff to maintain some continuity and some control over the design and the development of those lots and the structures on those lots. Alex, are you available now?
I am, yes. I hope that this is better.
Sounds better.
All right, thank you. I apologize, everyone. So as the variety is across the plan, the next series, kind of outlining what those housing typologies represent would be fantastic.
Still not good, Alex. I'll go ahead. These drawings are representations of the floor plan in the townhome units. And they would be the ones that would be on Mull Avenue and down the first street, which hasn't been named yet. Next slide. This is the middle portion, the Parkside units that we've shown. And these floor plans are just representations. There's preliminary drawings, and once we get the approvals that we need, we'll go further into the layouts. These units are and floor plans are the custom home lots that will be built on the lots that will be sold. some renderings of and photographs of the types of housing that that this would represent. Again, these are representations. They're not drawings of actual houses that have been built in the area. This is a timeline, development timeline that we've put together and expect that to follow in the course of developing this site. And we anticipate that this will take about 5 years to complete, but could be changed, could be faster. It depends on a number of factors and the economy and the way things are moving, but this is our plan. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jason. He's going to talk a bit about the finances.
Thank you, Tom. And Madam President, I know earlier today at the Planning Commission meeting, we kind of bifurcated the two presentations, everything you heard previously this evening here that really pertains to the conditional use we kind of talked about as it pertained to the public hearing earlier today. And then everything forward in the presentation in terms of finances and the development agreement, we kind of held off and did not discuss those in the public hearing and waited to discuss those until we actually had the ordinance to approve the development agreement before us. So I will certainly defer to you, Madam President, if you wanted me to go into the finances and development agreement here as part of the public meeting, or if you wanted us to hold on that.
Jason, I'm going to defer to you, completely up to you in terms of what you want to share this evening.
Okay. And what I will do is, let me just kind of give the very quick run through, and certainly knowing that as we have the other ordinance, we can touch upon that a little bit further as well. So from a high level point of view, finance wise for the project, you'll see at the bottom there, the total project is just under $20 million with about $3.7 million of the total project going towards public infrastructure costs. As we'll talk about briefly here in a minute, that $3.7 million would be initially funded by the city and repaid through both assessments on the properties and then a TIF structure that would be put in place to convert some of the property taxes that would be paid in years 16 through 30, convert those over and allow the city to use that to repay the loan. You'll see just shy of $2 million for utility expenses, a little bit more than $1 million for green space and the custom lot improvements, and then about $6.6 million for the actual construction of the townhouse phase, and just under $6 million in terms of the Parkside residences phase. So again, that comes to about $20 million, with the number that's not included on here being what the cost would be to construct all of those individual custom homes that would be in the rear or the southern portion of the development. Then this slide here just kind of walks through what would be within the letter of understanding and ultimately in the development agreement between Alpha Homes and the city. Again, just to go through this very quickly, it would include a sale of the land to Alpha Homes for $1. It would include, again, that assistance on the public infrastructure that while the city would come up with that $3.7 million loan initially, the city would be repaid through that assessment in years 1 through 15 and through the TIF in years 16 through 30. As I think is becoming more customary, this development would have a residential CRA tax abatement for 100% for 15 years. And also kind of in line with that assessment process that we identify up above on the loan, there is a small kind of grant in terms of the overall size of the project that helps Alpha cover its assessment costs as it's getting these houses up and online and sold eventually. And then there's some additional improvements that would be made or adjustments that would be made to the existing public infrastructure. That would entail improving a portion of Sunset View Drive, also vacating a portion of Sunset View Drive, and converting Kildare Avenue from a two-way street into a one-way street. So again, as that development agreement ordinance is discussed or debated, we can certainly provide more information, but for now, that's kind of the quick highlight. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Mr. Warner,
Yes.
were you going to bring forth some comments this evening?
I'm here to answer technical questions, but I will interject there that that as you probably did not notice on the houses is that all of the houses are designed to be at least the Parkside and the townhomes. We intend to have all the garages in the back. All the drives will be, the cars will be 2-car garages. We'll also have additional parking space in the driveways. The main roads in the development do have on-street parking. They're wide enough for on-street parking. We worked with the city's engineering and OID staff for that. There's one alley parallel with Mull Avenue that is not, that does not have parking. There will be some additional on-street parking placed on Mull Avenue as part of the design. So I just wanted to interject that. So there'll be plenty of parking space there, plus additional parking in the street, as well as in the drives and in the garages.
Thank you, Mr. Warner, for sharing that. If there are no further comments, Councilman Fusco?
So sorry, I'm kind of new at this. I had it muted, sorry. I'd like to pull the committee to refer this item. Swirsky? Swirsky?
Aye. Aye.
Kamer? I know he's not present. Samples?
Aye.
Baylor?
Aye.
If I could, Madam President, just the developers here, they have just an outstanding reputation in town, as we heard, and they do good work. And this is something I know the city administration has been working on for some time, but there is a lot of different aspects to this, and just wanted to give council time. And I ask that they take the time this week to review this in detail so that next week we can vote on this.
Thank you so much, Councilman Fusco. We're going to read in item number 2.
Sorry about that. Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, July 13th, 2020, during the special meeting of council at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a Type A child daycare home at 1355 Blackstone Avenue.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Deshaun Johnson is requesting permission to establish a child daycare home center at this location. Proposed home center, also known as Miles of Smiles Inclusion Center, would be located on the main floor of the ranch-style home. The facility would provide services and activities for up to 12 children, ranging from 6 weeks to 5 years of age. It would be operated 24 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, and up to 11 p.m. on Friday. Limited hours on Saturday would be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and closed on Sunday. Petitioner stated that she has worked in the child care field for 2 years and has achieved an associate's degree in early childhood education. While the petitioner stated that she does not intend to care for 12 children at one time, the Type A license gives her more flexibility in scheduling. Providing care for up to 12 children under the age of 6 should not have a detrimental effect on the nearby homes. Providing quality daycare service is beneficial to the entire city, and as such, the planning staff supports this request, and both planning commission and planning staff recommend approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Antonucci. Is Deshaun Johnson, the petitioner, on with us? No? Okay. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. I'd like to pull the committee to refer this item. Swirsky,
Yes, yes to referral.
Kamer, not present. Samples,
Aye.
thank you. Baylor,
Aye.
thank you. The committee is requesting to refer this particular item.
Thank you, Councilman Fusco. So item number 1 regarding Mole Avenue will be referred, and item number 2, 1355 Blackstone, will also be referred. We will now move into our new legislation.
We'll take time on the balance of the agenda too, Madam President.
Oh, thank you so much, Councilman Fusco.
Okey-doke.
Item number 1, offered by Fusco, ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a development agreement with Neighborhood Development Corporation, providing for the sale and redevelopment of city-owned property and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. The report of the committee on this particular item is to refer. We did hear a detailed presentation this afternoon in committee, and we had a brief presentation from Mr. Dotson in reference to this project. This is obviously with regards to the development on Mall Avenue, the former Perkins Middle School, and this is a development agreement as well as the sale of the land. There's a lot of moving parts to this. So what we're asking for is 1 week's time. Again, we'd like to vote on this next week, but I wanted to afford council the opportunity to review this in detail and bring forward questions if they have any, and they can forward those to me or Mr. Antonucci or even Mr. Dotson. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Fusco. This item will be referred.
Thank you.
Item number 2, offered by Swirsky, ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to participate in the Water Resource Restoration Sponsor Program and to enter into a sponsorship agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for the sponsorship of the Little Darby Creek Riparian Corridor Protection Project under the WRRSP and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Swirsky?
Committee approved this and is asking for a vote on it this evening.
So Councilman Swirsky, the committee's pleasure is suspension of the rules?
Suspension of the rules, yes.
Thank you. Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. Councilman Swirsky, do you have any further comments as it relates to this?
No, it's a unique kind of opportunity for the city to offer aid to protection to the environment and at the same time to reduce costs that we have to pay back outstanding loans. It's a good thing in 2 ways.
Thank you so much, Councilman Swirsky. Any additional comments coming from any other council members at this time? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor?
Aye.
Connor? Aye. Freeman?
Aye.
Fusco?
Aye.
Lombardo?
Aye.
McKittrick?
Aye.
Malik?
Aye.
Neal?
Aye.
Amobian?
Aye.
Samples?
Aye.
Somerville?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
This ordinance passes 12-0. I'm sorry, there's someone here that's just coming in through a phone call. We want to make sure they're not a petitioner for one of the public hearings. If you're here and you're under just a telephone number without a video, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, can I have your name, please?
Deshaun Johnson.
Okay.
So Deshaun, at this time, if you can hear us,
Yes, ma'am.
we want to give you an opportunity to bring forth some comments as it relates to your ordinance. Do we have a member of the law department present who can swear Mrs. Johnson in?
Yes. Ms. Johnson, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Ms. Johnson, if you want to bring forth some comments as relates to the ordinance.
Yes, ma'am. The purpose of me trying to have this inclusion daycare is so that I can bring the opportunity for more moms that have been seeking childcare for their children that has any type of special needs, whether it's cerebral palsy, autism, hearing impaired, asthmatic. Our daycare will be able to provide medication if needed. I'm also working closely with Summit DD that will provide us with free training, nursing if possible, for anyone that may need medication that the doctor does not want us to submit to the children. Also, they have a lender program that they have put us in for equipment that we may need for a child. So I really think that with me bringing this center to the city of Akron, it can help a lot of parents that are having issues with trying to find a daycare that will take their special need child.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Johnson. And just so everyone is clear, Mrs. Johnson is the petitioner for 1355 Blackstone Avenue. That's the type A child care. And so, Mrs. Johnson, just want you to know that we have referred your ordinance until next week, but we want to give you an opportunity to bring forth your comments before council. So thank you so much for joining us on the call tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item number 3, offered by Samples. Ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with Burgess Ambulance to remount and refurbish a 2009 McCoy Miller medical unit and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Samples.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The committee's report is favorable. We're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
This legislation is to refurbish and remount a medical unit so it can become a frontline medical unit. We'll also save money doing it this way. Approximately about 70 grand that we'll save doing it this way. And we're asking for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 12-0. Item number 4, offered by Mayor Horrigan, Councilwoman Samples, President Somerville, Councilman Fusco, Councilman Malik, Councilman Swirsky, Councilman Lombardo, and Councilwoman Baylor. Ordinance ordering that all persons in public places within the city of Akron wear a face covering to limit the spread of COVID-19 and declaring an emergency.
Councilwoman Amobian.
Yes, Madam President, we had a very thorough discussion this afternoon where we had the health commissioner. I'm not sure if she's with us tonight, the mayor and a number of other individuals. I think we all know that we're facing a very serious pandemic. It's a deadly virus that we've all been subjected to, and the importance of trying to save lives has necessitated people wearing face covering, masks, washing their hands, and maintaining safe distance. And this ordinance will certainly reemphasize the importance of wearing the face coverings, and there are other details spelled out. And I'm not sure if the health commissioner is with us now or not. Donna Scota, are you with us?
No, she is not.
She's not. And I'm not sure if the mayor is with us. If he's not.
Tamika Rose is present.
I'm here.
Mayor Horgan's there.
Oh, he is here. Mayor's here.
So the mayor may want to make some of the comments he made earlier this afternoon. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would echo Councilwoman's concern. You know, obviously none of us want to be here, as it started about 4 months ago. And, you know, the entire goal was that now that Ohio is color coded, you know, we didn't want to get to red, but sometime last week we started to tick into those categories of a community is judged in 8 different metrics of how they get to be red or purple or orange. And we had started to hit about 4 of those. And that was from the suggestion from Ohio Department of Health and the governor's office and Donna Scota about mandating masks at some particular point to stop the spread. And it's known to be about, you know, very effective to stop that spread. And Donna gave a pretty good explanation of, you know, where the virus is on us. And it's our body's a very efficient delivery system, as it's an upper respiratory virus, and we're able to spread that. So this mandates a mask. Like I said, we didn't necessarily want to get here, but we are here as a community. But this gives us the flexibility to be able to require a mask in public settings. And there are exceptions built in there, so businesses can still stay open. In fact, Procter & Gamble announced today a package where they are delivering masks to cities. And I should have a little bit more information on that probably towards the end of the week. We may have supply for some to be able to do that. Obviously, our employees will have to wear them. But, you know, as we're able to do this, we have to be able to get a hold of this spread. And a mask wearing in public is one of the most effective ways. And I know there were some questions today about enforcement, and it is a public health matter. And it starts with education. And I know as soon as Ohio, the economy started to open up in the beginning of May, and they got a flood of complaints about people not social distancing, not doing these things. And the health department went out, I think, pretty effectively. And we're able to help businesses find that safe space so where they're still able to stay open, but also do it in a safe way. And that's where we are now. Well, the health department will go out there, but if you're a repeated violator, they could be subject, the person or the business, to either a $50 or $250 fine. And quite frankly, it's not the fines that, you know, that we're not going to, this isn't one of those things that cities do or that health departments do to be able to replenish coffers. But you know, there is a violation and you will be held accountable, but we want businesses to be able to do that. And I think education is the best key. And I think they've done an excellent job of that in Summit County to help educate businesses to wearing masks. So I appreciate your support in being able to get this done. And COVID is going to be with us for a while, and hopefully not forever. But as we do this, we can stop that spread by mandating a mask in public. So I appreciate the support and all the questions from this afternoon. Thank you.
Councilwoman Tara Samples, did you want to comment?
Thank you, Councilwoman Amobian. This ordinance is just about keeping Akronites safe and keeping Summit County safe and keeping Ohio safe. I echo everything that the mayor said, and this is not about trying to criminalize or penalize individuals. This is about making sure that we slow the spread here in Akron and Summit County, and we ask for you all's support on this. Thank you.
Madam President, as I said earlier this afternoon, we had a very thorough presentation, and I think the health commissioner answered most, if not all, of the questions. She indicated they had like 30 to 40 individuals that are sanitation workers or something, whatever their title is. They will be going out throughout the city of Akron. They spend a lot of time in restaurants and throughout the city. And as they see people without wearing a mask, or they get calls or complaints, they will investigate. But their first approach is to educate people and to get them to cooperate. And she has found that with the other initiatives that we've engaged in with the health department, that the citizens of Akron have been most cooperative. You find a few people that may be resistive, but for the most part, they will cooperate. And we all see that this is to keep from spreading the virus and to protect others. And with that, I don't know if there are any other comments from others. If not, the committee's report is favorable and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Amobian. Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. Just want to give an opportunity for any other council members to bring forth any comments if they so desire. Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor, roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Abstain?
Fusco,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
I'm voting in favor and I ask that my name be added to the legislation. I forgot to do that. Thank you.
sure. Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This passes 11-0 with one abstention by Freeman.
Thank you so much. We will now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. We do want to remind anyone who wants to participate in our public comment period that you keep your comments respectful and no personal attacks. We did receive some comments that with the profanity, we can't even read them. So we do want to hear from you. We just ask that you keep your comments clean, respectful, so that we can read and properly respond. So at this time, we're going to ask the clerk to read in the public comments we've received.
This first one is from Ben McMillan. Thank you for taking the time during your meeting to hear my concern about our great city. My name is Ben McMillan. I live at 2258 Mogador Road, and I'm a small business owner here in the city of Akron. I'd like to draw your attention to a growing concern of mine about demolitions in our beautiful city. Although sometimes a necessity, I feel that too often lately we have rubber stamped approvals for demolitions of not only beautiful buildings, but buildings with historic significance. The recent demolition by SUMA of the School of Nursing is of particular concern. This is a place where some of the first female nurses were educated in our nation. Before that, the University of Akron tore down a hotel that presidents have recently stayed at. The list of buildings handedly destroyed is long and well documented. Both organizations, SUMA and UA, though not exclusively, have single-handedly destroyed the neighborhoods they are centered in for green space and surface parking lots with little plan to rebuild what they have destroyed. Neither green space nor surface parking lots belong in a city. The list goes on, and this is a troubling concern in an urban environment because when we hollow out our urban fabric for green space and surface parking lots, we destroy the urban character that makes cities attractive to young millennials like myself, hence why Akron is behind the curve in attracting folks back into the city during this third migration. I would like this council to strongly consider initiatives where demolitions are not allowed unless a planned new construction is in the works and will be started within a year, like the city of Cleveland, our neighbor up north, has done. I would also like this council to strongly recommend getting rid of any parking requirements in our zoning codes and setback requirements in our zoning codes. Initiatives like these not only hurt our urban fabric, but they are geared more towards suburban style developments, which is quickly becoming unattractive to upcoming generations and will soon become obsolete to developers. It's imperative that we understand that when we hollow these neighborhoods out, it's always our minority and impoverished neighborhoods that feel the wrath of these demolitions the strongest. Look no further than what the wrecking ball has done to Summit Lake or Middlebury. I understand that new buildings look nice, but we have plenty of open space that we need to encourage organizations to develop before they continue to smash up our neighborhoods. We missed a great opportunity in Wallhaven when we placed a suburban development where West Point Market used to be. The frontage doesn't even face the busiest thoroughfare, Market Street. How can this be? How can we continue to hollow out Akron when research and experience has shown this is the opposite way to reinvigorate legacy cities such as Akron. I hope I have shined a light on a major yet overlooked issue with how we continue to rebuild our city in the aftermath of white flight to the suburbs during the 60s all the way to the 90s. Consumers have been changing their minds for almost a decade now, and the cities are where they want to live. Let's make sure we keep Akron a city and not create it into a giant Wadsworth. Thank you so much, and I would love to speak with any of you individually about how we continue to make this city a better place for everyone to live. This is from Mark Delaney Smith. I just wanted to document my strong support for mandating the wearing of face masks and other social distancing measures, both in public and in retail business settings. Unfortunately, because the state government is unwilling to do more than make recommendations based upon the Ohio Public Health Advisory System, it is up to local governments to be specific. Summit County is currently at level 2 orange, where there is increased exposure and spread, and it is indicated to use a high degree of caution. Of greater concern is being located adjacent to Cuyahoga County, which is at level 3 red. I am caring for a 92-year-old mom, Ramona, whom I am determined will not catch the virus. We have quarantined her and cut her visitors down to my sister and myself for the last 4 months. You know, Mom, not being able to interact with people is really quite painful. The last thing I want is for all of the work we have put into her care for the last 4 months to go to naught because some careless people can't be bothered to wear masks in public and in the workplace. Thank you for your consideration. Please count on my full support for what you are doing. The sooner the better. This is from Pamela Woodall Crane. Good day. Please find a request for a public comment form to address the 7/16/20 council meeting. I am a resident in Ward 5 and have addressed and made known my concerns for the below issues for the past several years with no true remedy. The concern is opened and closed after a visual inspection and no repair. The repair for services has left a dangerous manhole uncovered that sits directly in front of a home with small child pets and adjacent to a school that children walk past daily. Also, I wish to address and comment on a city-owned property that should be torn down, be exterminated prior to demolition for harboring vermin and rodents so that the surrounding homes aren't infiltrated with rodents after. And I wish to address why the section of 5th Avenue between Fuller and Hart Streets has not had anyone repairs for the following concerns, as the surrounding streets, Fuller, Hart, have been addressed, and currently issues are being addressed on 5th Avenue between Hart and Arlington Streets. Yet nothing is done to the aforementioned section of 5th Avenue, including repetitive water leaks in the road, sewer drain pipes replaced, road resurfaced. I look forward to hearing from your offices and how to address these matters in confirmation of the day time I may address council. This is from Carla Maple. I wanted to express concern about mandatory masks in the city of Akron. As you know, I work with the senior population. I wear a mask. However, after reading some of the comments on a Facebook post where people were threatening to shoot if made to wear a mask, I have concern. In light of such high emotions, would it be best not to choose this battle? I have a friend who was molested as a child. She cannot wear a mask because it brings back terrors of her face being covered during the assaults. I know others with severe PTSD. Masks do not bode well for them. Others with COPD or asthma are having difficulties as well. I believe our police department has enough on its plate to keep Akron safe without adding an ordinance for mask wearing and fines. I also believe the ridiculous allegations of Sage Lewis are unfounded. I believe our community would donate masks if the homeless needed them. We just need to give our residents a drop-off location to assist in cause to provide masks for the homeless. Thank you for what you do. Stay safe and healthy. Leslie McCrae, I think everyone should be required to wear face masks. Thank you. Chris Shalene, countries around the world are wearing masks. Why? To stop the spread of COVID-19. Please require that all people wear masks. Renee Mungo, please consider not voting in favor of mandating masks. Remember, in your considerations, the death rate has been low and continues to plummet, which shows this virus to be very mild. Thank you. This is from Marianne Vandergrift. Please know, I know you do not have the delegation of authority to impose a mandatory face mask policy. It is the responsibility of government to protect my rights, not to oversee my health care. You get away with most of your crapola by pretending to be units of government or agencies of government, but you aren't. You are just private corporate subcontractors without a shred of any delegated authority. I will not consent to this tyranny. You can't guilt me into doing something harmful to my body to appease the moronic sheeple population to make them feel better. If you choose to write this policy, I know it is for City of Akron employees, not the general population. As I am not an employee of the City of Akron, it will not apply to me anyway. But if some of the sheeple want to wear face masks, by all means, let them. For you to say you will penalize me by enforcing fines and fees if I choose not to wear a mask, that don't work for me. I don't want to contract with you on this issue. Face masks have no medical value, and you know that. COVID-19, this is all fear-mongering based, and I don't believe in it at all. This wouldn't have been the first time the government participated in a false flag event against their populace. Think 9/11. If you can smell a stinker through your jeans, how in the world do you think a piece of fabric over your mouth and nose will protect you against anything? Kindest yet firm regards. Tracy Luna says, hello, I am writing to share my support for the mandatory face mask proposal. Health officials are relying on decision makers to protect everyone, since an inordinate number of folks aren't voluntarily working to end the spread of the coronavirus. Please make masks mandatory in public spaces for the good of all of Akron. Robert Wallace says, please make masks mandatory in public. Reverend Stephanie Lee says, dear administrators, I would respectfully like to request that the wearing of face masks be made mandatory here in Akron. As a fairly recent leukemia survivor, I am quite distressed to see the vast number of Akron citizens who are walking about, shopping, etc., without any covering or any attention to distancing. It's especially disconcerting as such citizens walk unmasked into your space as you yourself are trying to keep safe through distancing. Now, I am not sure what my own risk is at the moment. I am also 65 years old, but I am currently a pastor of a mainline church where there are a number of older members who just cannot afford to come into contact with such careless or unthinking individuals. With the incidences of COVID-19 spiking upward again all over the country, including in our state, could you please seriously consider allowing those of us at a greater risk and who are working very hard to stay safe through this pandemic a fighting chance to do so? Such an order would be mightily appreciated. Thank you in advance for your consideration in this matter. Mary Hazlett says, I am writing to strongly require the use of face masks when anyone is in a public place with people other than those with whom they live. I personally have pre-existing conditions. I'm age 62, and until she died in 2018 at age 87 was the live-in full-time caregiver for my mother. She was very ill. Asymptomatic people unknowingly spread the virus. Testing isn't enough because of the lag time between testing and results. The CDC is continually recommending face masks, social distancing, and thorough hand washing. We need to get the habit started now because this is going to continue for a long time. I urge you to establish a mandatory face mask policy. Jason says, hello, I'm not in favor of a mask requirement. As an American and free citizen, I feel it's my decision, not the government's. Tom File sends the SUMA mask policy and a statement of the Infectious Disease Society of America, and he is happy to support the importance of public use of masks as a critical defense against the pandemic and the best way to keep us safe. On behalf of operators, managers, and professionals employed by hotel and lodging businesses located throughout Akron, we appreciate the efforts of local officials to contribute to the positive steps taken in recent months to protect public health and safety while balancing the economic impacts of these measures on the many thousands of employees and residents. Members of the Ohio Hotel and Lodging Association, Greater Akron Lodging Council, maintain the highest commitment to guest and employee safety. While our businesses have always placed the highest priority on cleanliness and fighting the spread of all disease, we are stepping up our efforts with the implementation of enhanced industry-wide cleaning standards, reviewed by the CDC and accompanied by industry trainings, certifications, guest education, and public recognition of compliance. Hotel operators are working to comply with state requirements and best practices regarding face coverings. We will do the same with any additional measures enacted at the local level. We do appreciate the opportunity to share the following input before City Council takes final action on this issue. Most importantly, Section 4 states that the ordinance does not apply to restaurant and bar patrons while seated at his or her table or at the bar while eating and drinking. The Responsible Restart Ohio sector's specific operating requirements for restaurants and bars also include banquet and catering facilities and services. The current version of these requirements is attached. Banquet and catering facility services are also included in the Director's Dine Safe Ohio order, which established the restaurant and bar requirements. Banquet and catering facilities services are akin to restaurant and bar businesses and not the other businesses and activities enumerated in Section 2. We believe it is critical and necessary for Section 4C to include restaurants, bars, and banquet and catering facilities services for the state of Ohio operating requirements. We also share the following input regarding the proposed ordinance. We support measures to increase the awareness of and focus on the potential value of face coverings. Like all businesses, hotels take responsibility in ensuring employee compliance. Should face coverings become mandatory for guests, visitors, and customers, a clear enforcement mechanism that does not require the business to police those in violation of the law will be critical. Any relevant penalty should fall upon the individual not in compliance, and businesses should not be sanctioned for violations of individuals who are not employees when those businesses take appropriate actions to comply. Similarly, clarity on steps to be taken to report offenders, for example, clear enforcement contact numbers and response protocols, will ensure businesses can help the city accomplish its intent and diffuse potential negative situations. For use of face coverings by guests, clarity that public areas of businesses are covered, but that non-public areas are not, will help us to serve those guests properly. Relevant and reasonable exceptions, such as outlined in state guidance and included in other local ordinances, should be applied for consistency. A reasonable period prior to implementation to allow education of visitors and enable compliance. The hotel industry recognizes the seriousness of the current challenges faced by our community. And that is from Joe Savarese, the Executive Director of the Ohio Hotel and Lodging Association. Tom C. says, hello, I wish this to be read at next council meeting. I am a property owner around Clutch Gentlemen's Club at 1980 South Arlington. I was informed that on Thursday, 7/9/20, this business was overpacked again. Its patrons were parking across the street, the apartment complex. The residents were again disturbed by loud music, yelling, screaming, and car engines being revved up. It is BS that they have to put up with this constantly. We ask that you permanently close this type of business ASAP. It should never have been allowed in the first place. There are children and decent people in the immediate vicinity. This is from Sue Mariner. She says, I respectfully submit that the legislation requiring citizens be fined if they do not wear their masks be withdrawn. I do so with the following two reasons. Dr. Judy Mikovich, who has done work for the Center for Disease Control, believes masks actually cause harm because people are not getting any oxygen while they have the masks on. The other reason is because it is in violation of our constitutional rights to require us to wear masks. Thank you for your kind attention. Dear Akron City Council members, we are a group of citizens who are concerned about the installation of 5G small cells in our neighborhoods. We understand that there are real health risks as well as environmental health risks associated with these cells and feel that there needs to be more discussion before our families are permanently exposed to them. We have also reviewed the map of the proposed cells and the agreement between the city and the telecom company and find that the city's best practices mentioned the agreement conflict with the location of many of the cells. We would like to invite you to a public online meeting of concerned citizens who will discuss the pros and cons of these new 5G cells in our neighborhoods. It will be held on Zoom on Thursday, July 16th at 6:30 p.m. Information is given to register in advance. The title is Safe Tech for Akron. After registering, you will receive a confirmation email containing information about joining the meeting. That is signed by Melissa Ferrato, Henry Hornig, Krishna Fitch, Travis Lee, Jeremy Koost, Nikki Ferrato, Laura Gill, Liz Smith, Tim Curtis, Michael Vitarella, Matthew Bush, Lisa Marie Whitefeather, Jay Rao, Michael Mulhern, Eartha Goodwin, Francesco Renna, Ethan Goodwin, Sean Freeman, Barbara DeWild, Danielle Wilson, Chris Holter, Ann Louise Delgado, Travis Lee, Megan Bailey, Jordan Serpentini, Lisa Matwayu, Matt Arrington, Colton Huffington, Kurt Schaefer, Antonia Rankin, Karen Abdullah, Jennifer Weinbush, Sarah Stephen Walkamuth, and Edward Rice. This is a concerned constituent from Ward 9. Hello, I am a citizen from Ward 9 concerned regarding the mask ordinance vote occurring today. I have many concerns that I would like to bring to your attention. Firstly, I feel as if this ordinance is infringing on our right to choose whether or not to wear a mask. While I understand that the COVID-19 pandemic is a serious issue that requires masks in certain situations, I believe that this law is an excessive overreach of a government entity to control the lives of its citizens. Governor Mike DeWine has already issued a mask mandate in Summit County that requires many of the same guidelines that are proposed in this ordinance. However, Governor DeWine's mandate provides an incentive to wear a mask in public, as the mandate will end once Summit County is lowered from level 3. I believe it to be illogical and nonsensical that the ordinance proposed by members of the Akron City Council is expected to be in effect until a vaccine is developed. Members of the City Council cannot expect citizens of Akron to continue with this way of life until a vaccine may be developed. Also, I find that this ordinance will likely contribute to discrimination within businesses and the public, specifically in Section 3B that states businesses shall only sell or otherwise enter into any transaction of any kind for anything of value in exchange for goods, commodities, services, or accommodations to those who comply with this ordinance at the place of business. Some citizens may have legitimate reasons for not wearing masks, for example, medical purposes, religious reasons, etc. And some businesses may refuse to serve them for not wearing a mask, wearing a face covering without asking if they have a reason not to wear a mask. Additionally, members of the public might discriminate against a citizen without knowing why they are not wearing a mask. For example, if someone sees a person without a mask in a store, they may harass them for not wearing a mask without understanding why they are not wearing one. According to Section 7, the Summit County Combined General Health District is to enforce this ordinance. I believe this will put more strain on an already taxed entity that is fielding other complaints from the public regarding businesses that are not following COVID-19 guidelines. In addition, many people in the public do not wear face masks properly. I have personally seen innumerable members of the public touch their masks constantly, wearing the masks below their nose and wearing masks on their neck rather than their face. I have heard an argument that members of the medical community have stopped the transmission of diseases by wearing PPE. However, medical service providers are trained in how to properly wear PPE and face masks. People that do not wear face masks properly cross-contaminate their hands or constantly make the mask ineffective due to improper use. I find that these issues directly counteract the benefits of wearing a mask or face covering. Lastly, I am a supporter of the deaf community. Face coverings severely inhibit members of the deaf community from communicating. Many members of the deaf community rely on lip reading and facial expressions to understand what is being communicated, and face masks prohibit them from being able to communicate properly. While there are alternatives like clear face shields and masks with, I'm sorry, the 3 minutes is up. Amanda McKim says, I do not support this at all. You mean to tell me you are willing to infringe on others' rights with a virus that has a 99.75 recovery rate? On top of that, are you guys going to provide proper PPE to all citizens, not your version of proper PPE? And are you going to provide hazmat boxes for gloves and masks everywhere? Celeste Hallam says it's necessary to stop the transmission of the virus. Don't wait until we end up with triage. Ellen Harrington. Lillian Barnes says, good morning. I don't believe no one should be forced to wear a mask, a fine that might never get paid. It's a waste of time when people stating they will not obey it. I was in Cleveland and no one was wearing them and stated they fine them. They will tear the ticket up. What, take it out of their state taxes? If their state taxes is only $8, what is that going to do? Or if they can't file there due to being out of work, how is that going to help? It's no jail time, it's not federal, so that part cannot be touched by the state if they can file taxes. I feel it is going against their 10th Amendment rights, as well as if they are protesting without masks on, what is that going to do? If someone is committing crimes and wearing a mask, how is identifying them going to help, especially if they harm someone? So for the safety of the community and to cut down on the crimes, I pray you don't allow the mandatory face mask. If so, I will take my business and money out of Akron to a community that is not forcing it. Then it's too hot. People whom have mental issues and breathing issues already have a hard time breathing in the heat. And what about them? Then it seems no one don't want to answer my question. So I am going to ask you, all those who was tested positive, have they seen their results themselves? Was the test near them as they was tested? I am a person who doesn't believe everything a doctor says unless the results are right there. I can see them just like a flu result in pregnancy test or a throat culture being done. I want to see before I take their word. So how do we really know if it's true or not if they not showing the results versus them saying someone has COVID? I seen this with my own family member and he knew what was going on and it was his asthma flaring up, but they tried to say it was COVID and he proved them wrong. So I wonder how many others are like that, but believe the doctors. We have had so many killings since the COVID and people vandalizing businesses. And that's what saddens me, because how you think it will be once mandating face masks will be. I stay home with my children and not yet took them in the store since March. I wash our hands so much and use hand sanitizer when I am out. And when I get home, wash hands and use hand sanitizer again. It's all about making sure hygiene being kept up. A mask, I feel, is not going to help. Staying home will, though. Stay things opened too fast and too soon, and it shouldn't have been. I went to a hotel far out, no mask, fun, social distance, and they was very clean. And when my husband and I returned, we washed everything. We took in bleach and hot water, and we feel great still. And he works and have to wear a mask, and he doesn't want to feel he has to when he comes home as well. I am not wearing a mask with my asthma and PTSD, and I don't like my face not feeling free. I tried and had a bad flashback and panic attack afterwards that could have been worse than it was. So if I felt like this, how many others can as well? Then our number 45 won't even wear one or make it mandatory. So why is you all trying to do it as well? I don't support him on certain aspects, but I will support him on forcing. That was the end of the 3 minutes. Megan Snyder says we were doing well when people were not out and about, behaving as if there was no virus. Since it seems people will not stay home, masks are absolutely necessity until we learn otherwise. Please make this an ordinance. Thank you. Shannon Perkins says, please require face masks in public places in Akron. All the evidence is showing they are effective in reducing the spread of COVID-19. Unfortunately, most people won't do the right thing unless they are compelled to. You might make some people angry, but you will save lives. Twyla Walker also sent.
Okay, thank you so much. We want to thank everyone who participated and submitted to our public comment period. Is there anything else coming before council at this time? Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say, respect everybody's comments regarding the mask. I think, and this was said during the committee period, the beautiful thing about the country that we have is the freedoms that we have. The challenge comes when my freedoms encroach on yours and yours encroach on mine. So I just encourage all of our citizens to understand everybody has a right to exercise their freedom. If our freedoms look like they're going to clash with one another, use caution. All of us have driven down the road and see somebody speeding down the road, and they may come on your side. You can say, hey, I've got a right to drive on my side of the road and stand firm. Or you could do the smart thing and value your life, be you have a mask or not, and get out of the way. The most important thing we can do is respect each other. The important thing with this, even though I have some concerns about some people trying to abuse it, the most important thing is, as I mentioned earlier, it gives businesses a tool to better govern those who come into their store. I do want to also ask that, a lot of things have come before us. I remember us at the beginning of the year talking about how council was going to come together to address some of the issues and do some strategic planning. We're halfway through the year. I don't know if we're going to consider not taking leave, but I know for August, but I know a lot of people have already made plans, so we're going to lose the month of August. I would encourage us to consider how we're conducting our meetings and see what we can do better to utilize our time. I've observed, and I've talked to some other members on council that have observed other communities' council meetings. One of the things, since we're so distanced from our constituents, if we can have public comment period, pretty much function like public hearing. If people can list to speak directly to us through public hearing, I'd like for us to try to see if we could find a way where people can speak directly to us through public comment period. We're requesting people to register in advance, give it a trial and see how that works because we're distanced. And then last but not least, two things. A lot of people have had concerns about policing. We've seen the articles in the paper. There's different committees and whatnot, and I respect those committees, but there's only 13 people that have been elected by the citizens of Akron, along with our mayor, to address issues and concerns in our city. I like for us to, we've touched on certain issues, be it certain holidays, be it masks, but the gun violence in our community is through the roof. I don't think there's a ward here that hasn't been touched by a death. We need to come together to address this issue. I can think of two things that this council has mentioned. One was a gun buyback. The other was a legislation that we passed over 7 years ago that was a part of a community plan between APD, the University of Akron, Kent State, the county, and grassroots community organizations. We passed legislation to this council passed legislation to create a mobile resource center. Whatever we do, we need to have a plan. We've come up with plans now for everything else. If this virus is a health issue, I can guarantee you gun violence is. And so it's my hope that we can come together and create opportunities for us to come up with some options. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I just know we need to, even though this is challenging, find a way where we can socially distance if we have to be transparent to our constituents and come up with some things to address this, because I don't know about you, but I'm getting calls and concerns from my constituents, and not just my constituents in my ward, but my businesses on North Hill, and I'm hearing it on wherever I go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Neal. Councilwoman Amobian. Councilwoman Amobian, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I was just reading the newspaper about 22 East Exchange Street, that complex there. And we all know that the University of Akron is going through some major reorganizing. We have asked for this before, and perhaps we can get it now, because I think we need to look at all of those apartment buildings that we have on Exchange and around the University of Akron, just to kind of see what the occupancy is like, because it looks like the one at 22 East Exchange is going to be purchased by the same company from Alabama that's purchasing the Akron Beacon Journal's vacated building. And they're in the process of renovating and talking about some plans of making it a regular apartment building, I guess, with some assistance from the city of Akron. And I would imagine, I don't recall all of the details, but I think we were involved in helping whoever the purchaser who built the 22 East Exchange property. So if we could get an update on occupancy and how those other buildings are going, so we have some idea what to look forward to. If we can't have it before we do our summer break, if we could have it close to the time we return, that would be great. So I don't know if it goes to the planning department, Mr. Segedy, or to whom, but if we can get that as soon as possible, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Amobian. We'll see about getting that information for you. Anything else coming before council at this time? Councilman Swirsky?
Just going to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn. Councilwoman Amobian, did you have something further?
No, I just said second.
Okay, so we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.